right, everybody. Welcome to Separation Nation. Bringing this podcast to you today. And just as always, listen, just asking you if you're getting any value at all. You know, we do this, John and I do it for free. It actually costs us a good deal of money to put it together and get the content out to our listeners. But if you're finding any value in this at all, if any part of it has touched an area of your life, encouraged you, inspired you, gave you fuel for the future, listen, please click subscribe on the preferred platform of your choice, you know, whether you're utilizing Google Podcasts or you're utilizing iTunes, whatever it is you're on. Just please subscribe, like it, share it. It moves us up into rankings when you do that. And never forget to also, if you're liking us on the audio platform, go to YouTube and vice versa. If you just subscribe to YouTube at Agents Resource Group, be sure and subscribe to the actual audio platform that you choose to listen to. It really helps us, and we appreciate it greatly. And so today we're coming to, if you're watching on video, we've added more equipment, some new equipment here that's going to continue just to build upon the quality of this podcast. And so we're super excited. A lot of great things coming up, a lot of special guests that we're currently lining up to come and be a part of the podcast, so that we can continue to bring added value and life experiences of other entrepreneurs, other business people. And so we got a lot planned and a lot coming your way. I'm going to turn it on over to John today, and he's going to get us started.
Yeah, we are at this time of recording this. We're in the very beginning of December. Don't know when you are listening to it. It may be January, February, March, or April, but it's all going to be relevant and pertinent to that. What I want to talk about today was finishing strong. And it doesn't matter what month it is, whether it's February or April, we still need to look at what we have left and continue to finish strong. January 1st is coming up. It's time for New Year's resolutions, time for setting and planning goals, time to evaluate and all these things that we do and all these things that we believe in. But one thing I hear a lot from a lot of people is I'm going to wait until January. I'm going to do this in January. I'm going to get this. I'm going to start fresh in January. And I hear that statement and I get the point behind it, but it's a very frustrating statement for me to hear, because what it does is to have that mentality to procrastinate or to put anything off for any reason sets us up for failure. We've got 30 days left in a year that we need to maximize. We need to use to its fullest potential. We need to milk it for everything that we've got. And one thing I've done, I know you do the same thing, is every year around October, and a lot of business people do this, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of successful people do this, but around October, when I realize that this thing's coming to the end and we've entered the fourth quarter, or if you want to say the fourth round, final round, I always try my very best to get more intentional, more specific, and even expel more energy into the final year, because I want a big thing in my life and in my year. I want to finish strong. I don't want to coast through. I don't want to put anything off till January or February. I was talking to a friend of ours, Kevin, the other day. Actually, Monday was December 2nd. And, he's like, "What you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm at the office. I'm working." He said, "Well, I'm headed to the office store. I'm getting my new calendar today. I'm getting all this. I don't wait till January. I start everything in December. I get it going then. I got my goals down. I got a whole month to prepare for January. And I don't only want to start strong when January 1 comes. I want to have everything ready and prepared, but I want to finish strong in December." And I just think that's the mindset and the mentality that we have. And I love New Year's resolutions. I love the fact that you can't find a treadmill in the gym on January. Now, I was there at 8 o'clock this morning. They were all empty. I'll tell you that. I love the fact that people they start things. But I'll say this, most New Year's resolutions become a distant memory by February or March anyway. So I have the mindset that I'm going to put something off until January. I'm going to start this meal plan in January. I'm going to start this workout plan in January. Or I'm really going to get my stuff together in January. Why put it off when you can do it today?
Well, I mean, it's got to be a lifestyle. And if people would make life moves instead of, joining a new program or, following a new trend or saying, well, I mean, you've got to do it year round. What it comes down is your habits, your rituals, your routines, and your standards. That's what everything comes down to: habits, rituals, routines, and standards. And your high achievers have all of those different aspects in play. And you've got to step out of the status quo and this weekend type mentality that we have in this country. In other words, everybody's always living for the weekend, and what I talk about a lot of times is, and of course didn't coin it, but you probably heard other speakers or other people in the entrepreneurial world talk about it, but the strong end. We don't call it the weekend. We're going into the strong end. Anytime that you look at something like that, the weekend or the holiday season, and you back down, and I've been guilty of it myself. I mean, that's just a common kind of Americanized mentality. You're supposed to slow down around the holidays. And I'm not saying don't absorb and take it all in and enjoy it. Nobody enjoys Christmas season any more than I do. There's probably a lot of people that look at it the same way I do, but I mean, I enjoy sitting up every night and looking at the iridescent glow of Christmas lights on my Christmas tree, and having a cocktail and the fire roaring and Christmas music playing, and I got Christmas candles lit in every corner of the house. I mean, to me, it's a great time. It's a magical time. It's mysterious. It's family, friends, food, fellowship, a lot of my favorite things. Listen, take all that in, but do it in the bracketed time that you normally would have come home if it was June or July or August, and then you would have had your time in the evening or your family time. Don't get it twisted and sit here and take days upon days and sit out of work and not continue to plan and prepare, because you're losing momentum that's going to take you into the new year. Because what people don't understand is, wherever you're living today, basically you sowed the seed 6, 8, 9 weeks ago to get you to where you are now. That's what created the momentum. The momentum you're living in today was created weeks ago, and now you're eating the fruit of that momentum. So if you slack off now at the holiday season, and what I do, I just try to double down. Like, I feel that thing start coming on me right about Halloween there, where you just want to, because you're excited about all the activities and all the things coming up if you do love the season. And that's when, about that time is when we doubled down and said, okay, we're going to do a podcast. We're going to start Agents Resource Group University in contract with Lightspeed VT. And, we're going to prepare for a new book deal that we got coming out. So, basically we've turned up, got a new lead company and program thing going on inside of our own company here. So we've doubled down harder this year, in my opinion, probably than we ever have before, because we understand what's at stake now. And we know that what we do right now is going to affect the momentum. If we were to slack off, so not only are we just maintaining, but we're doing more, because you're never, if you think that you're ever able to maintain, I got this hashtag I use, and we're going to put on some clothing and all next year, but produce or reduce. If you live under the mindset that you think, okay, I'm going to be able to just stay the same, you never stay the same. You can't maintain. You never stay the same. You're either progressing, growing, producing, or you're reducing and digressing. There is no neutral Switzerland. There is no neutral ground when it comes to achievement.
Well, it's like you said, we've doubled down in November and December this year. I think we've done it every year. We've never done it quite as much as this year. We've really loaded the wagon just about as much as you can load it. I'm sure we'll load it a little bit more 40 years out. But, is to have that mentality, and kind of piggybacking off what you said, it's all about routines and rituals, the separations and the preparation. We're preparing at this moment right now, not just for January, but for next year and the year after that. I mean, you got to have a plan and forecast all that, and I get that, but not waiting and setting January as the starting point or the finish line. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, when you wake up on January 1st, you're going to be the same person with the same stuff. And anything you put off, whether say it's a meal plan, you say, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, but I'm going to wait and start in January. Well, you may gain 5 pounds between now and January through all this, because I can eat 5 pounds of pecan pie. I promise you that over Christmas. And all of those things, you're going to set yourself up, because two things you do. Number one, by procrastinating and telling yourself over and over, I'm going to put this off until January. I'm going to get it together in January. I'm going to work on this in January. You're already telling your mind that this is something that is so difficult that you need to continue to put it off and put it off and put it off. You're also telling the universe, this is so difficult that I'm just going to push it down the road. I'm going to kick the can a little bit further. When by the time you get to January 1, that thing is so difficult and almost impossible in your mind because you've convinced yourself that it's almost unattainable. And it's so many things are working against you in the universe just from saying it over and over and over again. By the time you get to January, you're fighting an almost impossible battle. It's kind of like the old saying, kill the monster while it's small. Mm-hmm. You know, we got habits and bad routines and bad rituals and bad relationships, all of these things that we're carrying. Why not get rid of them before January? Why not start working on them now so that we can? Because this is what people think. They think that January, they have this mentality that they're going to start with a clean slate January 1st, New Year's. We're going to start over fresh. No, you ain't. All your shit, and that's the only way I know to say it, is going to be right there with you. You're going to wake up with everything you went to bed with on December 31st.
The year before got you to where you're at now.
Absolutely. So why not? And it's and we've heard this said over and over and over, but it's the mentality. Do I want to have a one-day mentality or a day one mentality? Do I want to put this off until one day, or do I want to make this day one of my fight to get my weight in order, to get my fitness, my body, my money in order, whatever it is, my business in order? Anything that we can do now. You know, you used to hear the saying, don't put off anything to, well, the way I used to hear it is don't do anything today you can put off for tomorrow.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if you can do it today, if it's at all possible, it's a routine I have, and I ain't always great at it, but you can go look at my desk and I got, you know, it's a mess. I understand the mess. I got papers everywhere because there's a lot of paperwork in this business, a lot of things that I have to do that require, you know, dealing with different clients, accounts, and different things. I got tax papers. I got all kinds of stuff on my desk. One thing I like to do is every single Friday before I leave the office, I want to clean that, get that desk in order. So Monday I start with a fresh slate. But it ain't that I'm going to start Monday or I'm going to start New Year's. It's I'm going to start today. I'm going to finish this thing up. I'm going to finish it strong. I'm going to do everything that I can.
And you've said this before, you know, it's not first things first, it's feared things first.
That's right.
And you got to start with a thing, you know, and I've said this, if you got to eat a bullfrog that day, you don't want to stare at the sucker all day, you go ahead and eat him first thing in the morning. Well, you get the thing, and that's what creates momentum, because then your day, your week, your month, your year, whatever that goal is that you're working on, the rest that creates momentum. You get over the biggest hurdle first. It creates forward trajectory, and forward trajectory is what it takes to break through barriers and break through walls. So many people, everything's a major ordeal for them. I mean, you talk to people and things. I talk to people so many times and stuff that I don't even think about anymore because I've learned to overcome it and conquer it, and I've got momentum. I've got forward trajectory. I talk to people about just some of the most basic, minuscule things sometimes. And it's like, oh my God, every conversation with them, this is a hurdle. This is causing anxiety. This is stressing them out. And those things, it don't make me any better, but I've trained myself. I'm working on personal development. I'm trying to find every day the best version of myself. And so people spend their whole lives crying, complaining, and bitching over something that they can just pick up their leg and step over. But because they lack the momentum, you know, we've talked about before, you can lay a small block in front of a train and try to push it forward. The block's going to keep it from going. But if that sucker that is, you know, flying 60 miles an hour down the track, it's going to shatter whatever's in its way. Right. And you're not even going to think about it. And
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, momentum, you know, it's, and I forget the formula if you want to get scientifically what the actual formula for momentum, I think, is velocity times mass equals momentum. So the more massive you can be with anything, the more action you can throw out, and the quicker you can do it and never slow down. See, we've lived our life never slowing down. Some people live their life never starting. And a lot of people live their life, I'm going to cruise through the holiday season, or I'm going to cruise through the weekend. How many times have we faced something on the weekend, you and I, it's Saturday at 2 o'clock, and you're like, I hate to call you with this, but we need to deal with it. Well, why? Why do you hate to call me? Hell, it's the weekend, but so what? Yeah. We have trained our brains and our minds that there's certain chunks of time that we can get things done in. Okay, we got 40. Most people believe in a 40-hour work week. Well, if I went back to 40 hours a week, they'd come take my stuff. I can't do that. I got to continue to work pretty much always on, whether it's 8 o'clock at night or whatever. We got a podcast to do today. We got two of them to do today. I started thinking about this when you texted me yesterday, what we're going to talk about. And I sat down at 8:30 last night and jotted just a few general notes on a pad, because I'm not quitting just because it's time most of America goes to sleep, because I'm not going to be limited or boxed into some little block of time where people say this is when you can work and this is when you can play and this is when you can rest. My holiday season, and I'm like you, I used to kind of be Scrooge about it, but I've changed a little bit. I actually put my tree up about the same time you did this year. Actually, I got 4 trees up. I don't even know how many you got, ain't no telling. But I'm getting more because, I grew up in a house where that wasn't super important. But now I've lived in a house for 9 or 10 years where it's everything. And so my ways of thinking have adjusted, and the things I do around the holidays have adjusted. But I'll say this. I'm not going to necessarily celebrate a whole lot more in November and December, because I find celebration times in every month. We're going to enjoy times in every month. I'm not going to designate December as the month I'm going to give my kids gifts. Hell, we give our kids gifts all the time. It's something we enjoy doing. And so for me, I definitely ain't going to say, okay, November and December is a little slower for most people. I'm on a coast, because now coasting can turn into stopping. And if you want to have the big mo, you can't have the big coast. It don't go hand in hand. You can't have them both. And momentum is like what you talking about, us doubling down in November and December. Actually, we started back in October. There's certain things that are less busy, certain aspects about our business. But why not take that time? Maybe you can't see as many clients in November and December. Why not take that time to clean up all of the things you've procrastinated and put off all year? And why not take that time to basically use that energy and focus that energy, instead of laying around and coasting, and figuring out things to do that will actually give you even more momentum going into January?
Well, you got to visualize what you're doing today. You're loading the hopper for the future. Okay, it's like in sales in our business. I tell our agents, when you go out there and you make that sale today, don't just focus on the initial commission that it's making you that week. Understand and know, because in our business, we have residual income components. And so, to the point that after you've sold a policy, you're going to make more money on that policy that you sold in the 10th month, 11th month, and 12th month. And then you're also going to make renewals on that business for a decade. And so what I tell them is, don't just visualize, okay, I'm making my check this week. Visualize I'm creating legacy, wealth. I am purchasing happiness, fulfillment, financial security, not just for today, but for a year from now and for the decade to come. And so when when it's uncomfortable, which you have to have uncomfortability to be able to have any level of success in anything to begin with, you got to seek, not just do what's uncomfortable, but you got to seek out what's uncomfortable.
Well, what you just said goes back to something your Uncle Danny used to tell me all the time. He'd say, you can't make money counting money.
Right.
People spend so much time trying to count their money. Don't worry about the money. You just make it.
Just
get
make
out there
it.
and work. You throw as much at it as you can. The money will be there.
Well, if you understand it, it's impossible. And this is what I always tell myself: when I don't feel like I'm where I need to be, or the deposits wasn't as large that month, or I say, my God, I've done all this sweat, blood, tears. I should have. You always feel like you should have more than what you currently got. And no matter what level you're at for an achiever, that's how you're going to feel. You just have to learn to be able to live in discontentment and be able to control it at a healthy level so that it continues to propel you forward and never pulls you backward. But when you understand that what I'm doing today, what I'm going out to achieve today, is sowing seeds into my future, it makes the task so much easier. I mean, if you tell me I'm going to go do this particular task that's uncomfortable now, and all I'm going to make is $500 to go do it today, That's not near as inspiring as if you tell me, okay, I'm gonna go do this today, and I'm gonna continue to make $500 a year off of what I done
Off of
on
there.
for a whole another decade beyond that. Well, I get a lot more excited, and it's a lot easier for me because then I'm looking at the value that this task is providing and bringing, and so that helps me be able to focus during times like this, during the Christmas season, to be prepared because preparation time is never wasted time. And just to give you an example, so football, we're right here still in the middle of college football season. Big game coming up this weekend. Go Dogs playing LSU, and we'll pray that turns out the right way. But the average football game is 3 hours and 12 minutes. Okay, but out of that 3 hours and 12 minutes, the ball is actually only in play 11 minutes of the 3 hours and 12 minutes. And players practice 20 hours a week for just 11 minutes of playtime. Okay. Michael Jackson practiced the moonwalk privately for 5 years before he went public with it, May 16th, 1983, as he danced to Billie Jean, on Motown 25. So 5 years of private practice before he released a revolutionary dance that within 2 months was a household name absolutely worldwide, even in third world countries. So preparation time's never wasted time. And and that's why you have to double down this time of the year, even if you're not adding new projects or new tasks like we're doing. You got to understand that to be able to be ready for the new year and to be able to wrap up the things of this year, you're having to plan and prepare for what you need to get started the first year while you're wrapping up what you're doing. And so you've got to be able to understand the plan to win, prepare to win, and then and only then can you expect to win.
That's right. And then to break it down too, because we got a lot of listeners that's maybe they don't necessarily run a company or run 3 or 4 companies like we do. But they're just trying to run their household, and this is one problem that I see, and not just with Americans. I mean, it's just worldwide. Is okay. Think about November and December, especially from a sales standpoint, because we got most of the people that work in our industry are salespeople. Their amount of money that they make and their basically income is based on what they're able to achieve, the sales they're able to close. I don't want to say commission because I believe everybody lives on commission. I believe everybody gets paid based on commission and results. If you don't believe that, then you just quit giving results and find yourself without a job, because the world is on commission. The whole world is in that structure. But we've got people that I see, not just in our organization, but many organizations, they look at November and December as the months that they're going to coast. They end up making less money in the 2 months that cost the most money. I mean, I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. December is a fun month, but guess what's due in November, December? All the stuff you didn't pay, you got your property taxes you got to pay in November. You got, or in December, depending on where you live. You've got, different things in January. You got, if you pay stuff annually, guess what? You got a pile of stuff that's due in January. You also miss so many days. If you're in the commission sales business, guess what? You're not working Christmas Eve. You're not working Christmas Day, more than likely. Probably not going to work the day after. Probably not working New Year's Eve. Probably not working New Year's Day. Probably not working November. Maybe the day before, Thanksgiving. Maybe the day and before and after you miss. At the end of the day, you miss at least 7 to 9 days of production in these last 2 months. So why not front load that production?
I've never understood that. And
exactly.
I've never understood that. December, most years, was always my biggest month because first off, I knew I wanted to enjoy Christmas time. And really, I wanted to be able to enjoy nearly that whole week of Christmas I'd take off every year. Okay. Now, I wouldn't have took off had I not had the hopper loaded financially and known I was okay. But I would do more in that 3 weeks leading up to Christmas than probably in any other first 3 weeks of a month on any previous month in that year. Because first off, my time with my family, Christmas, it meant so much to me. It meant enough that I wanted to be able to enjoy it as much as humanly possible,
right,
without aggravation, strife, conflict, wondering how am I going to be able to make it during that time. So people that tell you, especially those of you that are in commission-based sales, I know what John's saying, but those of you out there that literally you're not getting a salary at all. If you don't get that ink on that paper and close that deal, you're not making the check. You got to understand that, I mean, anything that anybody tells you about the holidays and it's got to slow down or it's gone, that is people that slow down using that as an excuse so you'll slow down so that you don't outshine them. I remember when I first got into business, I mean, one lazy MF that worked with us. I'm just talking about lazy as they come. Okay. And that was always his thing. That's what he wanted to talk about was, if you was right in business more than him during that time. I remember sitting down in a restaurant with this guy for lunch one day. We all out in the field. We met for lunch down in Florida somewhere at a restaurant. And he basically looked at me and said, the fact that you're able to sell that much this time of the year tells me that you're a crook and you got to be doing something illegal. And basically, what I told him was, no, you just a fat ass and you lazy, and I'm making you look. I'm highlighting the fact that you ain't half working out
That's
here.
True, though.
And that's what. And now he got pissed off and shoved the last mouthful of fried chicken in his mouth and walked out the restaurant. And we didn't work together no more after that. But guess what? I'm still in the business and I'm rich, and he ain't. So there you go.
Well,
but anyhow, the point with that is people use that crap as an excuse. It don't have to be the slowest month. It's what you make it.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing, in the gym. If you're getting results and you losing weight and you build muscle, well, you must be on steroids, or you must be starving yourself, or you must eat like a horse, or you must have all this time. You must not have a job and all this. No, just dedicated.
Yeah.
Just like with this business, just dedicated. You can make excuse. You can have excuses or you can have results, but you can't have both. And we'll end with this. December is a celebratory month. It's time to spend time, November and December, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. I mean, we're making plans to take time off. We're making plans to enjoy ourselves. But at the same time, we front-loaded those plans with even intense and enhanced effort in October. And the weeks in November and December that we're not taking off, we're doubling down, because the last thing we're going to do is start fresh in January. We start fresh every single day. And the only way you're starting fresh is if you're closing out the things that you needed to do, the responsibilities and the things that you had the day before. So every day is the day to give maximum effort. I admire you and encourage you. Do set goals for next year, but don't wait till January 1st. It's too late. Start setting goals now. And the thing about it is, if you followed us and followed other programs and people like us that talk about setting goals and achieving goals, you're probably for 2020 just going to tweak the goals you have for 2019. It's not that you're starting over on probably anything. You're probably just enhancing the effort, giving more effort, and expecting more results from yourself. And time is just a measurement. It's not a point and place to start or stop, but it's just a measurement. December 31st is just a measurement from January 1 to December 31st. Let's close our year out. Let's see how well we did. And guess what? We've already got goals for 2020. And we're going to use that 365 days as a measuring stick, but not as a point to begin.